400 gas. He needs to put more harvesters on his gas. I'm guessing he was trying to save up his money to pop out a bunch of ultras all in a row, but that's not a good idea. You want to produce units as you have the money. You don't want to just save up money and then all of a sudden try and make 12 ultras at once.
So you notice our Terran player is actually ahead in supply, which is never a good position for Zerg to be in. And you notice it looks like he's going to do a bit of a two-pronged attack. We have the ground force coming in on the left side and the Banshees coming on the right side, going for probably just straight for the harvesters. And looks like our Terran player is going to move in here probably just as a distraction attack to keep this small. This is, although there are 4 ultras in here, this is not that large of a Zerg force. But there's the fungal growth going down. EMPs missing the infestors. And here come the Banelings just cleaning that up, no problem. This Ghost needed to EMP a lot sooner, and the Banshee's actually not attacking right now, even though he should be. And he needs to move these Banshees in and start picking off drones as soon as he possibly can. And here they go now, with actually 2 armor based on Zerg. Banshees don't 2-shot harvesters. It actually takes 3 because of that 2 armor upgrade. So bringing the 3rd Banshee in actually proving to be beneficial right now.
If you notice, the Zerg player has no air defense. The best he has is he can fungal growth these and then pop out some infested Terran, which he's not doing, and I'm not sure why. There they go. So there's the infested Terran, but now we just have Cloak, and once again, the Zerg player can't see any of this. He doesn't have the sight there, but the fungal growth does reveal cloaked units, so that ended up working out pretty well. But also, one thing to notice is our Zerg player is now up to an astounding 9,000 minerals, and he does not have a queen on this hatchery down here. He needs, you always want 1 queen on each hatchery because you need that inject larva to keep up with your money, with your income.
It's not even, at this stage in the game, usually when a Zerg player will take his 3rd base, you will see a Zerg player add an auxiliary hatchery, and what that means is he'll build another hatchery, just usually at his natural, and another queen for that. You notice this queen's at full energy, not keeping up with the inject larva. A queen who keeps up with the inject larva from the start will be at very low energy most of the game. And building on auxiliary hatchery just to be able to make more units, you can see with 8,000 minerals, there is no need why, especially not even being fully supply capped right now. And also he should make these geysers right away, as well as secure probably a 6th base here, because with the amount of minerals he has. Our Terran player is looking to expand again, and he has 1,000 minerals, so that's not great macro either. You can see our Terran player is now adding the extra barracks to keep up with his mineral count, but instead of acting, we have a lot of reactors here, and our Terran player knows that there are Banelings, Infestors, and Ultras on the field. So Marines only with the +2 upgrade do 8 damage, and Ultras have an armor of 4, so that's only doing 4 damage to an Ultra, and with Ultraless armor coming up, a Marine's only going to end up doing 2 damage. So instead of adding all these reactors, he should add tech labs or make more factories.
So if we look at the game as a whole up to this point, it started out, it looked like the Terran player was a lot further ahead. He had a lot better. Oh, there's a nuke going down. That's going to hurt the high yield there. That was a pretty good play, putting the Ghost up on the by the Zelnaga tower there, and then he had sight and he could drop the nuke right on all those harvesters.
You'll notice he only got 7 kills though. Not an incredibly cost-effective nuke. Our Zerg player actually reacted very well and actually took all the majority of his harvesters away. And the fungal growth is continuing just to whittle this Banshee down, even though it is light. It's not doing too much damage, but it looks like we are having some nuke play going down, and as well as our Zerg player's not making anything right now. There's no production with another nuke on the way.
And 10,000 minerals.
10,000 minerals. Getting now Spore Crawlers finally to defend against Banshees, but really with 10,000 minerals and not being fully supply capped, he could be adding, these drones aren't even mining right now. He just now made a Spire. He could probably make a Greater Spire and start really transitioning into Broodlords, because right now our Terran player is going Marines and Banshees, neither of which are that great against Broodlords. With enough Broodlords, they would clean up Marines because they wouldn't be able to get close, especially with the Bailing Force. But it looks like our Zerg player here is neural parasiting a Ghost, and just really holding position here. And not too much, again, not making anything at 157 supply, no production, and that's something that you need to constantly be making units. EMPing infestors there while they're burrowed, that is a huge problem.
Here come the banelings, though. If we can get a fungal growth off, now the infestors are too far away now. The Marines and Marauders have stimmed up, they're running back. Now the stims worn off, though, so these banelings are going to roll in here, and they destroy everything. This is why a Zerg player needs to open with banelings when they're playing against Terran. They destroy an entire bio ball. 2 hits kills a giant wave of Marines, and it's a chain reaction, and all of a sudden all the Marines are gone, all the bio ball is gone.
You'll notice our Zerg player doing something really good in this game is staying on top of his upgrades, bailing with +3 armors. Bailings will now they'll stay alive just that much longer to get that much closer to Marines, and more of them will land. But now these Banshees are actually the only thing really being cost effective in keeping our Terran player in this game. But looks like here comes the Ultra counterattack. He doesn't care about these Banshees. This tank still on the high ground, finally getting to shoot something, and really running it. Yeah, running.
Ultras just ran by everything. I'm not sure why they didn't just auto attack in there, and they would have gone right for that siege tank instead of taking those extra hits.
But now you can see with good siege tank placement far in the back, using some of this infantry in these buildings as cover. These siege tanks were really, these are all like 1 kills, 2 kills apiece, but those are ultraless kills, so that's some pretty hefty numbers there. So we still have siege tanks at this position guarding the third, and our Zerg player just now mining from this base with 12,000 minerals.
Still no queen there. When you Zerg players, you need your queens to inject the larva. You need to be able to keep up with your macro. 10,000 minerals is ridiculous. You should never get anywhere close to that.
Unless you're maxed out with maybe full bases, but even then, when you get maxed out, you should attack because you can't get any more army, and then you just replenish right away. But you can see our Terran player is doing very good stuff here. He's harassing with Banshees. Even though this is how you should play against Zerg. You need to harass the mineral line and keep their harvesters low. If we look at the income tab, our Zerg player is actually now behind in harvesters, which is where you never want to be. Of course, he does have 11,000 minerals, so to him right now, harvesters aren't a big deal. But if this was I don't want to say a normal game, but if this Zerg player was playing a little more standard and only keeping on top of his macro, this would be a big deal, keeping harvesters down. It looks like our Terran's moving out though, nuking the high yield, transferring the drones out though, going right into the bio ball. Make sure to transfer your drones maybe closer to your main base instead of away towards the Terran. But it looks like Thors are in this army now. Thors soak up Bailings like it's their job, and pretty good tank to Ultra. So here come the Ultras now stimming in.
There's the Neural Parasite on the Thors. Very good play by the Zerg player. But you always want to try Neural Parasite the heavy armored units, the big units, and just use them to kill the other person's army. And then once they pop out, they're already taking a lot of damage, and they just go down super easy, just like that. You'll notice that if you're a Zerg player and you have going up against a lot of Thors, adding in a few Neural Parasites, it's not that hard. You just click the hotkey and then click the Thors. Very effective, but still no anti-air. This Banshee, although not doing a whole lot of damage to Ultralisk, will still do damage, and there's still more Banshees on the field. Something our Terran player could have done in this battle better, however, was if he was able to get up on the high ground, or maybe leave some Marauders behind with the Thors and not run them all in front, he would be able to snipe those infestors, freeing up his Thors a lot sooner and not letting them take over. Here come another Ultralisk all-in, but now there's the EMP on the infestors. Now they're all low on energy, so they're not going to be able to get those fungal growths off or those neural parasites like the Zerg player was probably planning on.
Now with the EMP, there are 2 ghosts in that army doing their job, getting good EMPs off, and you'll notice our Terran player built extra factories and now just making siege tanks because they make faster than Thors, and that's what he needs right now on his kind of on this aggressive push and this counterattack, with a very large force actually of good infantry and mech mix, as well with a lot of Banshee support. So it looks like our Terran player really in control now. This is when not having auxiliary hatcheries comes into play. You'll notice our Zerg player is only able to make a couple of units at a time because he has no larva. And here comes another nuke going down. These 2 ghosts are actually really too close. They need to back out of there.
They're going to get killed, but they might get some kills in the process.
Oh, so looks like all the drones.
They're not going to make it.
These ghosts are going to die. World's worst nuke. Yep. Didn't even kill the hatchery, but here comes the all-in. by our Terran player. These tanks need to siege up in the back, but they are just trying to focus down these ultras. There they go. These Thors need to start attacking and stop moving, and start attacking. There you go, Thors, because these Thors will just eat up. Oh wow, actually those Bailings did a lot of damage. I don't know why he ran into the Bailings. You don't want to run that close because that's splash damage. Here comes the drone all in though against sieged up tanks, and that's never. How's that gonna work out?
That's not gonna end well. So one thing you guys will notice, this game's pretty much over, but if we look back throughout the game, the Zerg player had a vast economic advantage throughout the game, but he never used it. You can build as many drones as you want, but you need to use them. You need to build auxiliary hatcheries, you need to constantly be building units, and you need to be harassing the other player. The Zerg never even attempted to attack the Terran's third when the Terran player tried to go for that third base, and now it's almost mined out. And the Terran player, when he went and for his all-in, was maxed out at 200, while the Zerg player was sitting at 120. And right now he's talking about the Banshees being what ended him. But all he needed to do, he had the money. All he needed to do was put down a Hydralisk Den, or even just build some Mutalisks because he had the Spire. Either one of those would have been a good counter. And if you notice, at the very end of this game, he's up to 11,000 minerals, 146 gas. Gas is what determines your army, more or less. You need to always have your gas. Your gas units are what make your army either strong or weak.
You'll notice, so you remember when we look back at this fourth base, often he didn't take these geysers until a lot later in the game and never expanded up here. Just because you have a lot of minerals doesn't mean you can't expand for gas. Gas does determine the higher tier units, so expanding just for 2 extra geysers is usually worth it, especially with 11,000 minerals. That's pretty ridiculous. Something also you notice, Hydralisks don't cost that much gas. Hydralisks only cost 50 gas, and they absolutely destroy Banshees in anywhere to decent numbers. So something he says, so many Banshees, so little gas, and that's what he's kind of complaining about. Losing this game, says Zander, but really, he didn't build any anti-air the whole game. He let those Banshees constantly harass this mineral line right here, which is how you need to play against Zerg. And they could have started harassing this one too, seeing as this is one of his few mining bases left, seeing as this was almost mined out. So, our Terran player being pretty smart here with good siege tank placement, defending against the all-ins actually. Actually, these SCVs probably need to transfer on over, but using nukes actually to harass mineral lines to kind of hold off some mining, as well as making extra production facilities. So something that our Terran player probably could have done a little better though was start harassing the Zerg a little earlier in the game, because as we remember early in the game he just had a couple infestors and some Zerglings. A stemmed up Marauder Ball versus Infestors would have absolutely destroyed that.
Yeah, so mistakes all around on both parts, but overall a pretty good game. It shows you the importance of macro and the importance of early pressure. Never underestimate what sending in a couple Marines and Marauders can do. That Terran player could have won that game a lot earlier, and vice versa. If the Zerg player would have made if he would have gotten his Banelings out a lot sooner, he could have done a lot of damage to this Terran player, and at least harassed, when the Terran player expanded to his natural, you could roll some Banelings in there and take out all of the workers if you wanted to. Things like that, harassing the mineral lines and stopping the player from doing what they want to do, instead of just letting both sides macro up and then falling behind on your macro, and ended up losing with 12,000 minerals sitting in your base.
Alright. Thanks guys, this has been StarCraft2edu. Send us your videos and cast them, and yeah, alright, thanks.
Thank you.